All right, welcome to the Forge Coffee Break. This is episode number 51, and thank you very much for joining today. And this is a very open space for any kind of questions and topics that you have. We have lots going on because of AU is coming late September. So I'm going to show you a few things later. But let me start with you. If you have any questions or topics that you'd like to bring up, this is your time. Just open your microphone and you're very welcome to talk to us. I see some new names and old names. Any questions or topics?
One guy from the old name. Always have a question. Okay. Augusto, I have a little problem with this Forge block. I don't know how to use that input line for the search. I'm looking for there was some blog post from Adam about sending the library, the inventor library to the Forge and use it. And when I start with library, with inventor, with material library, I cannot find that blog post. And anything I try to type in, I don't get any result.
So what you're looking for again, you said material library?
Library, yes, for inventor, for the Forge, from Adam.
And you said Adam did it, right?
Yes.
Adam's not here. Oh, yeah, he is. Do you remember which one is it?
Remember what?
Yeah, sorry. Najak was asking about the material library for inventor blog post that you did.
Preparing the custom library with materials and sending to the Forge. And I know that I saw somewhere in the blog post, but I cannot find it.
Let's try this then. Material library.
I've seen one where there was like a Fusion 360 model, which had materials in it. Is that the one you're talking about?
I think it was for inventor. I'm not sure, but I think it was for inventor.
Yeah, even here I'm getting the same results. I'm trying material library, Adam Nagy. Maybe it was someone else. Yeah, it usually works.
Was it about references, resolving references for materials or something like that?
I just remember that I just read it about it. I didn't try it, and I said, "Oh, that will be very useful in the future." And now future is come, and I cannot remember exactly how that was.
Yeah. Well, I think that when I try this search, it usually gives me the same results as I try on Google. But if you're unsure, you can just try, like this. You can type what you're looking for, then cite autodesk.com blog. So it should give the same results. It's just an indexing thing. Maybe the order is a bit different, but the results should be the same.
Okay.
Interesting. So if you see anything that is not matching, let us know, because then we have to look at this search.
Okay, I will do that.
Cool. And you can try this as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you, Jaco and Adam, for an idea. What else? So I said that AU is coming very, very shortly, and the week before AU, we are running a bootcamp as well. So if you have someone that is starting with Forge or want to start with Forge, that bootcamp is a good idea. It's 4 days, and it's the same of the tutorials we have, but it's very guided, step by step. So it's if someone is starting, that can be a good way. All right, let me get back to you. Any other topics or questions? or do we have a quiet audience this week?
Hi, Augusto.
Oh, hi, Eric. Long time no see.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Really busy.
Yeah, I can
So-
imagine.
I was wondering on that Civil 3D API. I know I don't know if Forge has the capability of using interop to access let's say a library for user-defined property sets in Civil 3D.
Sorry, you are using Civil 3D to use ngrok?
Oh no, interop. INTEROP. Interoperability.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Mhm. I mistake.
Yeah, sorry.
So you're trying to use that from Civil 3D
Yeah, I
Xen
was wondering.
automation?
Yeah, I know it works like on a local machine, but if we if I try to do it to Forge, I don't believe the library is available.
Yeah, as I understand, the
Uh-huh.
ActiveX library for AutoCAD is not available in Xen automation.
Okay.
But I can check that. And for Civil 3D, I'm 99% sure that it's just .NET.
Yeah. Okay. Will there? I was gonna say, will there be any new libraries being pushed into Civil 3D, like new APIs?
So the design automation engine should be the same as the desktop engine for .NET,
Okay.
for the .NET API. So if it's missing something, it's missing on the .NET API, that is the same that you have locally, right? That you have
Yeah.
on your desktop environment.
Okay.
So what specifically are you looking for?
Well, can I share my screen for a bit?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, yes, cool. So, see, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. So I found this article, how to go about setting up the parcel user-defined property sets,
Mm-hmm.
and it forces me to use Autodesk AC interop LAN.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was trying to figure out a way to do that on like through Forge,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not seeing any libraries available on the Forge platform.
Okay. So yeah, I think as I recall, it's .NET only. But no, we are recording this session, and let me ask the CO3D guys what they say. I believe it's not available, but we can double check.
Okay. Oh, because that would be a huge help.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So you need user-defined properties for parcels, right?
Yeah. So it's
Okay.
it's different from property set definitions, and I know I people get confused on property set definitions versus property set classifications and AutoCAD.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're two different property sets. But this is the one that we were looking into.
And you need to read or write that information?
Write information.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
because I know we also use ArcPro. So it generates a new property set definition, which we don't want. We want to generate a new property set classification using this method. But other than that, that's something we're still looking into.
Okay, sure. I'll check on it I'll check with the Civil 3D team on that.
Okay,
and,
thank you.
And I do have your email, so I can send you the reply.
All right, awesome.
Cool. Yeah, I remember that you started working with Civil 3D a long time ago, maybe 2 years.
Yeah.
Is that in production already?
Yes, but we hit a bug, so we have our contractors fixing the front end service. So
hit a bug where?
Well, it's like it's not displaying the data on the Forge viewer and on the Esri map.
Okay.
It's something on. It's just something on issue on the front end side. So the Forge service is working fine. Data is being spit out into our database. It's just that somebody changed some stuff in the front end and just things are not showing up anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Interesting. Yeah. Very curious about that one. I know you are working for some time, so yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Thanks for
So
sharing.
we're we're gonna display it next week. I mean, show it, present it next week to our to the other engineering firms.
All right, cool. Thank you.
I've got a question. So
Patrick, right?
yes, so I'm working for Arcadis in London, and together with Andy Ruth, and I think he's on the floor as well, we are building something that links to your checklist API. You're familiar with that?
Checklist in BIM 360.
Yes.
Okay.
So we've gotten quite far with it. One thing that we still haven't been able to crack yet is we don't know at the moment whether we can do a get call that shows us the user for any given project, because we've got this. We're trying to build an automation that picks up data from the checklist API. So the idea being that anytime someone fills up a checklist, we have something in the back end that picks up the checklist, automates the reporting, and then generates the a Power BI report as well. One thing that we don't know, so we can get data, so that's fine. We can do the automation, the reporting is also looking quite good. One thing that we're not able to do at the moment is we have to build a front end that recognizes the user for any given project, and also to kind of build a listener that would understand, hey, someone have updated the checklist and therefore, run this get call. Because otherwise what we have to do is automate the get call on a, periodically, right? So every, 2 hours, 3 hours every day to run, and essentially just by brute force kind of collect data from the API, which I think is not the greatest solution. But at the moment we are hitting a roadblock because on the one hand, we don't know how to get the user data out. And also we don't have a way to listen for updates. So I think at the moment, it seems like all of these calls can only be done at the data management API level, which then requires us to have a much higher permission to access to get that. That's maybe I misunderstanding, but
yeah. So let me see if I get this right. So the user will come into your interface, and you want to refresh the list of checklists you have.
Yeah. So actually, let me refrain. So actually, what I've just told you is we're trying to solve two problems there. Let's do the one around users, because what we want to do is when the user tries to access the data, it will be his or her data, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then we need to build something that recognizes that this is the user that is allowed to access the project. So it needs to do a handshake of some description at that level. The next problem that we have is this thing around the listener and making sure that, hey, if the checklist has been updated, we know it has been updated, and the app, the API will tell us, hey, it's been updated, rather than us having to knock on the door and asking, hey, has this been updated? Has this been updated? So it's two parts of the problem, and I think all of it kind of links back to the data management API, which we don't have access at the moment.
So you said you don't have access to data management? What do you mean?
Because in Arcadis, we have two levels of access, one at the project level and the other one where basically someone is a super user. So there are projects that clients may not necessarily allow everyone access to it because it's secret and whatnot. So we don't have access to the data management API, which I think if I was to read the documentation correctly, a lot of information by users, a lot of information around updates, because that's linking back to webhooks. And it looks like webhooks is only accessible through there.
Yeah. Okay. So I think I'm getting some of it. Let me try, just because of time. Let me try here quickly, right? So this is the checklist API, and no, it's just the documentation. But what I want to point out is this thing here, right? So if it says that is user context required, it means that you need a three-legged authentication to do it, right?
Yep.
When you do this and you call this endpoint with a three-legged token, the data that is returned is just the data that the user has access, right? So if you log in with user John and you call this endpoint with his credentials, then you get only the checklist in this case that John has access to. If you scroll down and see the response, you see lots of data, and you see something like this, right? Created by, modified by. This is the user ID of the person who created or modified this thing, right? And if you come to the account management and you go to the account users, you can get users. And if you scroll down, you should see a sample response, right? So this is the user, and you should see here the user ID of that user. So those two should match, right? Okay. So you can, for instance, get all users and then match that against the checklist or anything, right? Because they ID match. But just as a difference, right? This kind of this endpoint that get users is a bit different because it says app only, meaning that you need a two-legged token to do this. This is not user. This is no, you can call this and get all the users for the account, because this is you don't need the user context for this, right? Which is a bit different. So that's the first thing that you said about getting the data that is relevant for that user.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing you mentioned was about data management, right? So that's really about traversing the folder structure here. You go to traversing the files you have, folders and files, right? So you go to hubs, projects, folders, items, and versions, right? So this is a hierarchical view of all of that data. You can traverse the system once, and after you have some sort of index of all of your data, you can always come back to the documentation again and go to webhooks right here. And whenever there is you can just register for data management events. You can get version added or folder added. And if there is a new version of a file or a folder, you just react to it and update your index or whatever you have on that thing. And we have samples demonstrating how to do that. So for instance, github.autodesk.com. And if you go here and go to search, there is a sample that shows one of the samples we have, right? So the first time you run it, it gets all the folders and add webhooks to it, and get all the files and add that to a database. And as soon as a new file is uploaded with webhooks, we update that index so you can search across your files. So this is one sample that is doing this first traverse and then updating the index. So no, they both work and they both can be used.
Okay, I have a feeling that I'll give it a go again, but I have a feeling that we don't have access because of permissioning. Okay. I'll give it a go again.
Yeah. Okay. So if you're having more questions, very specific questions, go to support, get help.
Yeah.
And or you can go to the events here. Actually, easier, right? So you go to Calendly, Autodesk Porsche, and get one of us that is a better time for you. and just
Yep.
book a time so you can discuss.
Fantastic. Okay.
You said you are in the UK, right? So Adam's
yes.
there.
Yep.
Peter is in Europe as well. Cyril, they're all. No, you can see the time zone here. Just pick
Yeah,
one
yeah,
that
this
is closer to you, and we can discuss.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Cool. All right. So before we move on, I would like to quickly show you something that we are working with and hoping to gather some of your feedback. Just keep in mind that it's very early, and let me have Elliot introduce himself and do a very quick demo. And know if you have any suggestions or comments, that will be very helpful for us, and we're working on this one. Go ahead, Elliot.
Hey everyone, I'm Elliot. I'm an intern on the Forge team. A project I've been working on is a playground for the Forge viewer, and I'll show my screen and show you what this is. So, can everyone see my screen? Awesome. So,
yes.
So we're basically, rebuilding, what Replit and CodePen, these services offer, and we really want to make it really easy to get started with the Forge Viewer API. So you have a code editor here, which represents the viewer.js, and here on the right you have an actual viewer instance, and you can edit the code here, and it runs pretty fast, and you don't have to really worry about the setup and getting your tokens and all that kind of stuff. And you can jump back and forth between documentation and kind of let's say here I want to add some custom geometry. You can copy this code and put it right here. And so so we're just kind of playing around with this right now and expanding it, but we're definitely kind of curious on how people would use this and want to get feedback.
I think that's very interesting for people using the viewer, and if you'd like to quickly experiment. Have you seen this on other platforms? What you like, what you dislike? And thanks, Elliot. That's going really well. And yeah.
And also, when there's errors, you get error messages and everything like that. So yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen that the arrow thing. How does it work? You just what happens? Oh, that will work, right? Because you have to have a syntax problem.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Can you upload your own model on here, or is it just that model that's just being provided to us?
It's a good question. So yeah, right now we're adding that functionality so that there's some example models and that you can upload your own model to play with.
Who asked the question?
Eric.
Eric. So what would be the idea there, Eric? What do you want to do?
Oh, I'm sorry. I just noticed a button on top below says load my models.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, I mean,
yeah.
what are you trying to do with that? Like,
oh well,
test?
like if I wanted to upload a corridor, with some grading, and grab some metadata, and extract some feature line services and provide a pop-up.
And what we'll be using that for? To experiment with what?
Just getting an estimation on the data that we're dealing with in the field.
Okay, so you know that there is a free viewer that you can use today, right? This is so this is really developer centric because you have the code on the left. So I'm curious, are you looking for something you developer focus, like run some code?
Well, yeah, I could run some code. I mean, I like the idea that we could just manipulate the code here.
Okay.
Augusto, Jim, it also strikes me, if I have a cranky IFC file, this would be a great place to try to figure out what's wrong.
Yeah, you can experiment with running some script on it, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Elliot, can you pull in Autodesk Drive files in here?
Autodesk Drive or Autodesk Docs?
So I think,
Autodesk
yeah,
Drive.
to your question, Michael, I think we will start with sample models and maybe some ways to upload models. But because of time and the internship, right, it's ending shortly, we are going to reduce the scope. But we did have that. I think he does have the ability to include other models like Drive or BIM 360 or Docs, right? Will be on the plan as well. But maybe we have to reduce the scope for the time of the internship. So what are you looking for, Michael? To Drive for?
Actually, no, I think Jim answered it. Edgar sounds like they want BIM 360 files.
Okay.
The docs question was actually for the viewer team. They're kind of experimenting with Autodesk Drive right now, but they don't know what the appetite is for it.
Yeah.
So do we have like some backend server that it's running for the token, or is that what it is? Like, or are we doing kind of like a local use of the viewer itself right now?
Right now, this is local, but yeah, it will change in how we're running it. So yeah.
So if you remove, I guess the first function, the token one.
Oh yeah, there is a server side. Yeah, there is a server side.
Okay.
It's not offline viewing. If you're
okay.
Yeah.
So I'm curious about other non-Autodesk people. Any other scenarios that you would like to use these, or ideas? Have you had the need for this kind of quick experimenting before?
Yeah, I agree here. Definitely. Like what Jim said, testing out cranky IFCs, isolating certain model objects to see if they're compliant with, let's say, user requirements, stuff like that. It's really easy if you have some.
How would you experiment with IFC files here? How can you explain a bit more?
Well, is the door in the IFC class door, right? So I would want to throw in a filter and say, make everything that is non-IFC door, make that red or stuff like that.
Okay.
Right, and currently we built that in ifc.js. Would be much nicer to do that in here.
Okay, so you mean like load the model and do some filtering and coloring?
Yeah, stuff like that. Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah, interesting. Thanks, Edgar.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And just because we are really running out of time, any last questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Not directly development related, but more so during the design phase with owners. We have kind of a complicated project that we're trying to develop, and I was attempting to use data flow diagrams and user stories, and I don't know if there's any recommendations that the Autodesk team would have for having that back and forth process with the owner to finally arrive at software specifications. I guess it's a general question.
Yeah, I think I missed this. Are you talking to get this design spec for a software, or which license you need? That's what I missed.
No, well, it's to design the ultimate application, going from interviews with the owner and going to arrive at the software requirements list. Perhaps I didn't articulate it well.
No, I think it makes sense, but it is as I get it, it's as I understand it, it's very generic software development discovery phase, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
So I was asking for recommendations for like diagram styles. Like I'm looking at the data flow diagrams, UML diagrams, and using user stories. And then to kind of discover the full list of requirements, the path to the developers.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, if we have any classes on that, I don't think we do. You can get software requirement classes on those online providers. They have lots of those classes. I did try one a while back on Coursera. You can try that. I mean, there are many options there. Yeah, I did once. I did that once as well.
Yeah,
Not sure if others have recommendations.
Yeah, you might ask one or two of our software architects kind of what they use.
Yeah.
For
Okay.
diagramming out, data flows and, is it Visio or, what is it they use? It's like our UX people use, Figma and Mural and, is there some cool tool architects like to try to
understand, right, Jim? I know I used to work with you guys as well, and Wolfgang Gruder, who was leading up the I'd say consultants in EMEA, they switched to Enterprise Architect from Sparks. But again, and I use it myself as well in my daily practice, but a whiteboard is just as, just as easy to articulate your understanding and capturing that in Draw.io or whatever. I think the tools shouldn't be driving, the hammer, or how do you say that in English, in proper English? It's like whatever feels comfortable and is appropriate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's a new process for me, so just looking for feedback.
Yeah.
I'm chuckling a little. Edgar said whiteboard, and it's like, well, getting in the same room as customers is not the way it used to be.
We have whiteboards on Miro, right? Come on.
That's right. That's right.
So Miro board, or what's the other one from Microsoft? Whatever you can use to articulate these things and get them checked and vetted. That's my main lesson.
Yeah. But Moses, when you ask the question, is it so you can get a good understanding of kind of the data flows, or is it also to document it and have it in this formal spec? So some of it is about building a document.
Both. It's to document and have one common source that we can look at as designers and the client can look at as owners and say, yeah, we agree with that. Or, hey, we just thought of something because we've been reading this and we just realized we missed something. And then to finally have it there to turn into a formal list of requirements for the developers.
Yeah, thank you. I think I'll follow on Jim's suggestion to get some suggestions from our internal teams and send that to you, Moses.
Appreciate it a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And just because we're a bit over time, as usual, the next coffee break will be in 2 weeks, same link, same time, on the July 27th. And yeah, I think that's it. Thank you very much. It was a very nice session today. Thank you for joining. Thank you for the feedback. And hopefully soon that playground will be available for you. And yeah, that's it. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining. See you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.